your mind? Is it about having a better security system in place? Just off the cuff, I mean, what do you think went wrong, sir?
Obviously, the system and the protocols are not there. Because
Yeah.
two people who have received the pass by a member signing, the members would have signed for this pass. I'm not attributing any motive to the member who gave the pass, because members sometimes give passes to whoever requests them.
Yes.
But they have to give their ID when they come in. They are not allowed to carry even phones into the house. But how did they manage to sneak past all the scanning security and the security and the frisking with 2 canisters? And these canisters could have carried lethal gas. If they had carried lethal gas, I mean, it would have been very tragic consequences with 100 members present at the house, and the house was functioning.
Yeah. So there were certain slogans that were raised on the floor of the house, and we're not.
I didn't make out. I couldn't follow anything.
Right, and I don't even want to repeat them to give them any kind of credence or any kind of substance to them as to what was done. But sir, for the future, any thoughts that you would like to share?
I mean, the speaker is the custodian of the house. He must have a complete security review. Somebody must be held accountable for this.
Yeah.
We have to go through the protocols we have for security now. I mean, obviously, security is not good enough.
Yeah.
I mean, what if these 2 people jumped in with poisonous gas? Can you imagine what would have happened?
One shudders at that thought. Mr. Karti Chidambaram, thank you for joining us on the broadcast, and thank you for sharing your thoughts. I want to cut across to my colleague Arunima and Pallavi, who are joining us on the broadcast. Pallavi, first to you, just for the benefit of our viewers, the first-hand account of what exactly transpired. We believe at around 12:50 this incident unfolded. Give us a sense, please.
So I can only say this, Anusha, that ever since the 2001 attack which took place on Parliament, things have really not been the same again. It was very easy to have access inside the Parliament. Cars could go in. It was easier for visitors to get the license, or rather the slips to go in. After that, things have become tougher and tougher, so much so in the new Parliament building, this entire idea of an RF tag was also introduced. It was there in the old Parliament building as well. But in the new one, even media, people like us have also been given a little slip or a card, an access card of sorts, which you have to swipe to go in, which means the entire details, it's like a biometric, the entire detail starts coming out with your name, where you work, and your Aadhaar card and so on and so forth. But in the case of visitors who are usually recommended either by an MP or by a party office, it's not an easy process. A member of parliament is a form you have to fill up. The member of parliament has to sign it, allowing this visitor. So ideally, it's the MP's responsibility and accountability to who's being allowed in and who's being allowed out. But in practical, that's not usually what happens. What happens is that MP staff or a party staff, they are the ones who allow visitors to go in. They go in for a limited period of time, sometimes 1 hour, sometimes 2 hours, and they go and sit. And this case, what I'm being told is that they were sitting in the gallery number 3, which is just bang opposite, nearby the media gallery, and that is where he jumped off. Now the entire process has got into place. Multiple levels of security obviously have come to naught. Very quickly, this is exactly where the visitors need to go in from. So when they go in from here, you see that cabin there. That's where first checking happens, which is, there's a frisking machine. You put in your luggage or baggage, whatever, and you're not even allowed to take it in. And then there's a counter where, you get those slips. Then again, your picture is taken, and then it is swiped and you go in. Not even a sheet of paper. Forget a mobile phone. You cannot even take a slip of paper, because there has been an incident in the past where people accidentally have, a paper has fell out of their hand and is fallen on the members of parliament. So after that, no paper is allowed, leave alone a bottle of water or even a mobile phone. So this is huge. I showed those pictures to you a short while back. It's a huge yellow cylindrical object. I am told 3 to 4 more of them have been found near the gate. So he was trying to get in more, but inside his shoe, he could take only one. So when you throw it, the smoke comes out. It's a colored smoke. I got you those pictures of that yellow powder on the floor. All of this has now been taken as evidence. So this is massive, massive security. In fact, it is said that even patta bhi nahi hilta inside parliament, but therefore all these angles are now being covered. What we are told is that, first of all, the staff which was on duty over here where the frisking take place, they have been taken into questioning. Why was there no proper frisking done? This is also the problem, is that very often no one is even asked to take off their shoes, because your X-ray
all right, cutting across, Pallavi to Lok Sabha.
एक मिनट प्लीज नो ओके नहीं एक मिनट प्लीज बालूजी प्लीज अपन सब वरिष्ठ सदस्य हैं, सारी घटना की प्रारंभ, नहीं दोष नहीं दे रहे, दोष तो अपन दोष किसी को नहीं दे रहे, एक मिनट, दोष कोई किसी को नहीं दे रहा, दोष किसी का नहीं, सारी घटना की प्रारंभिक जांच आइए, लेकिन अंतिम जांच आएगी जब मैं सदन को सारी चीज अभी अवगत करा दूंगा, उस समय जो आपकी चिंता है वो पूरे सदन की चिंता है। नो 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 नो, बालू जी आप सीनियर व्यक्ति हैं। हाँ हाँ यस, ये जिम्मेदारी मेरी है और मेरी जिम्मेदारी है, कौन लोग आए क्या लोग आए। नो नो, आप क्यों डिबेट कर रहे हैं, वो विषय नहीं। नो नो, देखिए अपन इस विषय को, ये एक मिनट प्रेमचंदन जी, देखो एक मिनट, एक सेकंड, मैं एक मिनट आपको बोलने का मौका दूंगा, एक मिनट मेरी बात सुने आप प्लीज। देखिए प्रेमचंदन जी, जो विषय आप बता रहे हैं वो विषय ऐसा वो वाला विषय नहीं है, ये मैं आपको प्रारंभिक जांच के बाद क्लियर कर दूंगा, क्योंकि सदन के पटल पर जब तक विस्तृत इंक्वायरी नहीं आ जाए, जब तक उस पर मेरी तरफ से सदन बोले, लेकिन प्रारंभिक जांच के अंदर जो प्रारंभिक जांच आए वो दोनों लोग पकड़ लिए गए हैं, उनकी सारी सामग्री को जब्त कर लिया गया है, और जो 2 लोग बाहर थे उनको भी गिरफ्तार कर लिया गया है। एक मिनट रुको ना, अच्छा बालू जी ने जो विषय उठाया, एक मिनट में बालू जी आपके विषय को बताता हूं, एक मिनट बालू जी, एक मिनट, बालू जी ने जो विषय उठाया वो, हाँ मैं बोलने दूंगा ना, एक मिनट, बालू जी ने विषय उठाया क्लियर कर दूं ना, एक मिनट, ये हाँ हाँ बताइए अधीर रंजन, हाँ अधीर रंजन जी बताइए, एक मिनट, हाँ बताइए अधीर रंजन जी बताइए।
सर बात ही है सर, आज ही सुबह आप जानते हैं 2001 साल में 13 दिसंबर हमारे नया पुराने जो पार्लियामेंट हमला हुई थी, आज हमला वर्ष थी, और सुबह हम लोग वो शहादत जो दिए थे हमारे ये पार्लियामेंट भवन को बचाने के लिए, वो शहीदों की स्मृति पे हम पुष्पार्घ भी दिए हैं, पुष्पार्पण किए हैं। हमारे प्रधानमंत्री से लेके वाइस प्रेसिडेंट आप सब हम थे, मैडम सोनिया गांधी, मल्लिका जी सब थे हम। आज ही सर इत्तेफाक से यहाँ भी हमला हुई, मानते हैं उस समय हमला एक प्रकार की थी, आज हमला दूसरी प्रकार की, लेकिन बात तो ये है सर कि ये हमले वर्ष में इस तरह की घटना कैसे घटी।
Okay.
इसमें क्या साबित होता है कि हम जो सावधानी जो बरतना चाहिए था वो सावधानी हम नहीं बरतते।
Okay.
दूसरी बात सर ये बात है कि देखिए, और एक आज बड़े दिलचस्पी के साथ, बड़ी हिम्मत के लिए कहने में अच्छा लगता है कि ये तो शख्स को सर हमारे सारे एमपी ने दबोच लिया, सारे हमारे एमपी ने नीडर होकर हमारे सारे एमपी ने उनको दबोच लिया था। और तीसरी बात यह है सर, हमारे जो पार्लियामेंट की सर सिक्योरिटी है सर, अपने जो सिक्योरिटी जो निहत्ते वो पुराने सदन को बचाने में सफल हुई थी, वो निहत्ते हमारे लोग आज कमी दिखाई दे रहे हैं सर।
ओके।
ये दिल्ली पुलिस कहां से आ गए, लेकिन हमारे निहत्ते जो सदन के हमारे छोटे मोटे ऑफिसर थे वो कहां गए,
विषय बताता हूं,
उनको सब खाली कर दिया गया।
देखो इस पे वाद विवाद नहीं करना चाहिए, आप चिंता व्यक्त करनी चाहिए, वाद विवाद नहीं करना चाहिए, अच्छी बात है, अपन सब सीनियर व्यक्ति चिंता व्यक्त करना चाहिए, देश देखता है।
Sir, we should be more cautious.
हाँ.
That at the entry gate, hundreds of people
वो
gather over there, and we the MPs when we enter, it becomes a very difficult situation.
Okay.
And these people stay from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m.
जी.
taking photographs, taking selfies, and nobody can guess who is MP, who is
Okay.
not.
मैं
Sir,
सुदीप जी,
today's incident is
एक
very
मिनट,
serious,
सुदीप जी, मैं
and no doubt.
एक मिनट सुदीप जी, ओके ठीक, ओके सुदीप जी, ओके एक मिनट, ओके मैं प्लीज, मैं एक सुनो मेरी बात, एक मिनट सुदीप जी, एक सेकंड प्लीज, एक सेकंड सुदीप जी, जो आपने चिंता व्यक्त की है, मैं आपकी चिंताओं को, सदन के कांग्रेस दल के नेता की चिंता को, सत्ता पक्ष के लोगों की चिंता को, सबकी चिंता को समझता हूं, और इस विषय पर हम सदन के चलने के अभी 1 घंटे 2 घंटे बाद सब लोग बैठेंगे और जो कई बार अपन ओपन हाउस में अपने सदन की चर्चा करना ठीक नहीं है। आप सबको मैं बुला रहा हूं और आपकी सबकी चिंताओं को हम लेकर किस तरीके से और बढ़िया इंतजाम कर सकते हैं, जो आपके सुझाव हो उन सुझावों को माना जाएगा। ठीक, हाँ, मैं बुलाऊंगा सबको, आपके सुझाव को मानेंगे, सबके सुझाव मानेंगे और सबके सुझाव पर अमल भी करेंगे, क्योंकि हम सब की जिम्मेदारी है। हमारे मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट के कहने से दर्शकदिगा में जाते हैं, तो उस विषय में भी बात करनी पड़ेगी कि हमें पास बनाते समय क्या क्या सावधानी बरतनी चाहिए, कैसे बरतनी चाहिए। ये सब हम सबकी चिंता का विषय है और इसीलिए मैंने आपका विषय में मैं आपने मुझे नॉलेज में डाली, मैं अभी बुलाकर बात करूंगा, अभी बुला के बात कर रहा हूं आपसे एक बार। सदन देश में हम सब लोग देश और राष्ट्र की सेवा के लिए आए हैं और कितनी भी विपरीत परिस्थिति हो उसके बाद भी सदन चले, ये हम सबकी जिम्मेदारी है। और उसके बाद हम सब उस घटना के बाद भी सदन चला था, आज भी सदन चलेगा, कोई सदनों को रोक नहीं सकता। ओके प्लीज, मैं बुला रहा हूं ना आपको सुदीप जी।
चलेगी, कार्रवाई चलेगी, सब कुछ चलेगा।
ओके, मैं बुलाऊंगा आपको, मैं बुला रहा हूं आपको, सबको बुला रहा हूं, प्लीज सबको बुला के चर्चा कर रहा हूं ना मैं सदन के अंदर। ओके, नो स्मोक, मैंने स्मोक की जांच करा ली है, आपको कोई चिंता करने के विषय में सदन पे बैठा हूं, आपके सामने मैं भी सदन में बैठा हूं, तो जिम्मेदारी के साथ बैठा हूं। वो मैं कल्याण जी में बुला के बात कर रहा हूं ना, कल्याण जी में इस विषय में बुला के बात कर रहा हूं ना। ठीक है, जिन मान्य सदस्यों ने आज नियम 377 के अधीन मामलों को उठाने की अनुमति प्रदान की गई है, वे अपने मामलों के अनुरोध पाठ को तुरंत व्यक्तिगत रूप से सभा पटल पर रख सकते हैं। आइटम नंबर 27A, हरदीप पुरी जी।
Sir, with your permission, I rise to move for leave to introduce a bill further to amend the National Capital Territory of Delhi laws, special provisions, Second Amendment Act 2011, to extend validity of this act for a further period of 3 years from 1st January 2024 to 31st December 2026.
प्रश्न ये है कि विधेयक को पुनर्स्थगित करने की अनुमति प्रदान की जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में माननीय मंत्री जी विधेयक को पुनर्स्थापित करें।
Carrying across to my colleague Arunima, who is joining us on the broadcast, giving us more details. Arunima, the members of Parliament, including the Speaker, expressing concern over what has happened. The Speaker also promised that there will be a thorough inquiry in this matter. Give us a sense of what you're picking up, please.
So the sequence of event, as we have been told, after preliminary inquiry by the Parliament Security and the Delhi Police is this. There seem to be 4 people involved, 2 separate incidents. In the first incident, the 2 managed to gain access to the visitors gallery in Lok Sabha. Pratap Simha, the Mysore MP of the Bharatiya Janata Party, his credentials were used because the Parliament security system is that an MP will have to recommend. If you as a visitor want to come here, some MP will have to recommend. So his recommendations were utilized. Preliminary assessment seemed to be that this duo hid some kind of a spray bottle inside their shoe and they jumped off from the visitors gallery. They were sitting in gallery number 3. They jumped inside the Lok Sabha chamber. Rajendra Agarwal was in the speaker's chair at that point. Malda MP, Mr. Kundu, was, taking the floor at that point, and the house was adjourned. These 2 opened up the spray and started spraying some kind of a yellow chemical. We don't know what that chemical was, but Mr. Beniwal, the MP from Rajasthan, tried to grab hold of him. He pushed him. So the duo were willing to fight it out, and they subsequently tried to get out of the situation when Parliament security grabbed them. While this was happening, outside on the Transport Bhavan side, which is the main entrance of the Parliament building, 2 people, Neelam and Amol, they also detonated some yellow-colored smoke canister. We are not sure what this was, but prima facie it looked like the kind that you often use in Holi to really have colored smoke around you. Slogans of Tanashahi nahi chalegi, Kala Kanun nahi chalega were heard both inside and outside. Joint interrogation of all 4 is on. 2 have been identified, but 2 who were inside, their identification has not been made public yet.
Their identification has not been made public yet. Arunima, for the benefit of our viewers, whenever an individual who's not a member of parliament or a journalist for that matter wants to access the parliament, what is the procedure that is involved? Can you give us a sense of that? Because that will tell us about the security protocols that exist and what has been breached.
Okay, so just watch behind me. This is the Parliament gate. You can see visitors lining up here. There is a barricade here. From here, they'll have to walk down. This is the Red Cross Road where that green colored banner is. That is the Red Cross Road. So these visitors will walk down this road.
Okay.
On the other side, about 200 meters from here, is the main reception of the Parliament. So any visitor who wants to gain access will have to go to the main reception building, submit that letter of recommendation from a member of Parliament.
Arunima, I'll
submit
request
his
you
or
to
her
just
Aadhaar
pause
card
for
or
a second. I'll come back to you. What is required for a pass and what are the other details? Intruders pass has been accessed. CNN News 18 has accessed that intruders pass. The people who use that pass that Arunima was telling us the procedure about, and pass is in the name of Sagar Sharma. Getting us this exclusive bit information is my colleague Payal Mehta, who's joining us on the broadcast and getting us more details on this entire story. Payal, over to you. Tell us more.
Well, this is a pass which was made today. This is a visitor's pass that you can that we are able to see. This is a pass that has been accessed, where it clearly says that the pass was made today, which is the 13th of December 2023, for Sagar Sharma. It's a pass on the top of the pass. You can see it says Lok Sabha Public Viewing Gallery. That means it was made for a public to come and see the gallery. Their access was only to the gallery, and most certainly what you see on the bottom left-hand corner is that the pass is issued by the Lok Sabha Secretariat after the pass request came in from Lok Sabha Member of Parliament from BJP, the Mysore MP Pratap Simha. His name is there on the pass, so that's the confirmation now coming in. Because remember earlier we were hearing about the fact that Pratap Simha possibly got the pass issued through his office, but there was no confirmation. But this is a confirmation. This is a pass on which the accused over there had entered the Parliament. What was the motive behind it? Because you remember, Anisha, like Arunima and I have been reporting that there are people who make passes for a lot of people within their constituency. Even as we are strolling right now in Parliament, we can see a lot of school children coming to the Parliament. Everybody wants to come and see the public come and visit the Parliament, witness the proceedings from public gathering. And there are MPs who make passes for the constituency. Whether or not Pratap Simha really knew the intent, or whether or not he in person knew that accused over there, what's his intention?
Yes.
All of this will be a matter of investigation. But for now, the pass, of course, was made in the name of Pratap Simha. That's a confirmation.
All right, Pal. Thank you so much for putting that into perspective. Pallavi and Arunima continue to be with us on the broadcast. Pallavi, Arunima was briefly telling us about the procedure which is involved in obtaining a pass of this nature. Could you elaborate on that? And also, what are the kind of security checks which are followed? I believe that there is a multi-level security apparatus in place right before you enter the Parliament building.
Oh yes, absolutely, and it's got stricter and stricter and more stringent over a period of time. Now that I'm a little closer, I'll show you that this is actually where the visitors really go in from. So when they go in from here, okay, you're going to see those pictures. 1 minute. The visitors go in from here, they enter through this gate, and when they enter through this gate, you can see that big cabin over there. That is where first level of frisking takes place, which is where, your bags or whatever is frisked over there. Then there's a physical frisking which takes place, which is pretty much similar to which we all go through when we go and take an inside the airport. And then you go to a main reception bench. And that is where, again, your picture is taken. The letter has to be shown to the staff on duty at the reception. And on the basis of that, there is one barcoded pass which is given, which Payal has put out. And that has to be scanned once again. And then you enter the premises of the Parliament building, which is like right behind me. That's the old Parliament building here. This is the new one, which you can see just in front of me over here. The first is the Makar Dwar, which is, of course, where the MPs go in and ministers go in from. And then behind that is where the visitors go in from. So there are multiple levels of security. All of us have gone through it. For media, the only leverage we have is that we are allowed to take our cell phones. Of course, not inside the visitors gallery or not inside the media gallery. You keep your cell phones outside. But inside inside the main dome, you're not allowed to take your cell phones. But inside, despite not being an MP or a minister, we are allowed to take our cell phones inside. Visitors who come in are expected to deposit their bags, which means not even a letter can go in, not even a sheaf of paper can go in, leave alone water bottles. No matter how small you are, how old you are, you're told, you're explained. In fact, when you're entering the gallery, there are those staff which stand there. We explains to you the do's and don'ts. For example, Anusha, you're not allowed to speak to each other. If you go by the rule book, you're not allowed to speak to each other when you're sitting inside the gallery. You're not even allowed to sit cross-legged for some reason. You're supposed to show the respect to the chair. That's also one reason. And you're allotted a time, maybe an hour or two, and then you're quietly told to come out. And every point where you are, there's a watch and ward staff who is actually walking round the chairs and the benches to see whether you are behaving with proper decorum. Therefore, despite anything, this will of course have to be seen as a huge security risk, given the fact that 2001, forget today's date of Parliament attack anniversary, since 2001, this is one lesson which has been learned. In fact, when you go inside the Parliament, there's one huge, there's a vehicle where you have a staff sitting inside it, and they have the state-of-the-art equipments, weapons with them. So that in a split of a second, and there are mock drills which are often down to ensure that no one is caught off guard. Today is a very clear instance of where they have been caught off guard. And just to give a bird's eye view of where we are standing, this is what is famously called the Transport Bhavan site. This is where the Parliament, all of us stand here, where people come in from that particular road, which is the Sansad Marg over here, to go up to this particular area. So that's a multiple level of security, and of course, not very surprisingly, it's all been beefed up over here.
All right, Pallavi, as you get us all those details, I also want to cut across to Yash. He's live with us from the Parliament Street Police Station. Yash, the details that you have.
Well, Anusha, as of now, first of all, I'll show you the visuals from this very place. Security has been beefed up entirely in this area. In fact, this is near the Parliament. So this entire lane is now being under heavy police deployment. Not only police deployment, but security personnel from CRPF have also been deployed over here. And in fact, I can tell you that those two who were detained from outside Transport Bhavan are being interrogated by the police teams inside this very police station. In fact, I also have with me Ananya, who's tracking some probe details when it comes to Delhi Police's probe in this case. Ananya, what is you picking up from the DCP of New Delhi? What details are emerging?
Well, definitely, major details that have come out is that those two people have been identified who were actually caught outside the Parliament, who were creating ruckus outside the Parliament, and busted a color bomb there, and they have been brought here at the Parliament Street Police Station. We showed our viewers. Apart from that, the other two people who were inside the Parliament, no identification as of now has been happening, but definitely Delhi Police's various teams, including that of the forensics team, have been sent towards the Parliament so as to forensic analysis can also be done when it comes to those chemicals that were being used in those color bombs. So we'll have to wait, because these are very, very initial probe details that have emerged at this point of time. Though there is no kind of a linkages that have been drawn at this point of time, it is just as initial reports suggest, they are just protesters who had tried to create
Ananya, what we are also understanding as of now is that what the sources are indicating that this is not at all a terror attack. In fact, this is the top intel sources which are actually telling CNN News 18 as of now. In
and
fact,
as you get us all those details, Yash, Ananya, please allow me to reiterate that breaking bit of information that we are getting right now. This is a CNN News 18 mega exclusive that this is not a terror attack. Top intelligence sources say that total 4 people have been detained, all from different areas. They have grievances against the price rise and unemployment. But this is not a terror attack. Getting us this exclusive input is our investigative editor, Manoj Gupta. I'll cut across back to my colleague Anindya and Yash to get more details on this entire story. Yash, to you, you were telling us more details about what intelligence sources are indicating to us.
Well, absolutely, Anusha, and this is, we are confirming at CNN News 18 that this is not a terror attack. In fact, these 4 were from different areas, and in fact, they had grievances against the government when it comes to different issues, and that's why they were actually protesting outside and inside the Parliament. In fact, Ananya, you were also mentioning that there was some sort of some information was actually shorty, but now what we are confirming is that this is not a terror attack.
Well, definitely it is not a terror attack. It is what also the Delhi police had shared when it comes to the initial details. That said, these four people belong to different places. And what is very, very important to note is that they breached the three-tier security system of the parliament. Because remember that the parliament is a three-tier security zone where first Delhi police is deployed in the outside. Then there is another security system that is inside the main building, and another security when you enter near the visitors gallery. So how did this breach actually happen? Because there needs to be a proper pass that is made. That seems to be answered. The Delhi police is investigating into it, and the DCP New Delhi has very, very categorically confirmed to CNN News 18 that those two people have been identified. The two inside the parliament who had jumped from the visitor gallery 3 towards these MPs and was caught by R.K. Singh Patel are to be identified yet. What was their motive? What were their against what they were protesting, and why did they do so is something that is to be identified. But the two people had been brought here. They might also be, since they will now be arrested, they will also be taken to the court.
All right,
in a
stay
while.
with
But
us on the
at this point
broadcast,
of
both
time,
of you. I'll come back to you and get more details. I believe there are voices and reactions. I believe the intruder spoke to the press. Let's listen in.
करते हैं, लाठी चार्ज करके हमको अंदर डाला जाता है, टॉर्चर किया जाता है, तो हमारे पास कोई माध्यम नहीं
कोई डायरेक्ट वजह है, कोई वजह है किसी संगठन से हैं आप?
नहीं, हम किसी संगठन से नहीं है, आम जनता है, स्टूडेंट है हम, क्योंकि हम बेरोजगार हैं। हमारे माता पिता इतना काम करते हैं, मजदूर, किसान, छोटे व्यापारी, दुकानदार, लेकिन किसी की बात नहीं सुनी जाती। ये हर जगह हमारी आवाज को दबाने की कोशिश करते हैं। ये तानाशाही नहीं चलेगी, तानाशाही बंद करो, तानाशाही बंद करो, तानाशाही नहीं चलेगी। भारत माता की जय।
Right, let me try and cut across to Arunima. She's with us on the broadcast to give us more details. Arunima, sorry I had to interrupt you earlier. You were pointing out to what is the security apparatus that exists, the kind of permissions that you need. We just played out that sound reaction of one of the intruders, and she was speaking about unemployment, price rise, Bharat Mata ki jai. There are also intelligence inputs that Manoj Gupta has reported and pointed out how this was not a terror attack. Prima facie, what does it seem like to you?
Yes, it looks like, after speaking to multiple people, it looks like that this group had some kind of a grievance with authorities. That grievance could have been at the local Thana level, police not listening to them. That grievance, as one of those, people, Neelam, I think her name is, she mentioned about unemployment. None of them, and I think Harish is also our colleague from Bengaluru, has managed to get us the information that the fathers of one of the youngsters who jumped inside has identified him. So they're not connected to any group, it seems. This was not a well-organized, well-planned kind of a conspiracy. They seems to be having some local level grievance for which they carried out this stunt. Publicity stunt to attract attention to whatever the grievance would be is what police is saying initially. But Speaker Om Birla on the floor of the House has said that a thorough inquiry will happen. There is a multi-agency probe that is being carried out. So Delhi Police, Parliament Security, Intelligence Bureau, the other agencies, they're all part of this probe that is being carried out, and they will try and ascertain the reason why this was done, whether the four have been connected in the last few days in any manner. How did they manage to smuggle in that spray? Outside, whatever happened may not be that much of a concern, but if you can smuggle in a chemical spray inside Lok Sabha Visitors Gallery, that is of massive concern, because it could be a biological weapon, it could have been a radioactive weapon, anything can be smuggled in this way, and that's a huge concern that the MPs have raised. Om Birla there assuring that steps will be taken. And as I'm speaking to you, let me just show you the security bandobast as it is being tightened. More and more barricades are being wheeled towards the Parliament building. The entire area around Parliament is being completely sanitized. The visitors who want to go in have been asked to wait out, because as the house is on, I think security wants to take its own time and ascertain as to when to make it normal, when to make it business as usual for the visitors here. And these barricades are being taken towards the Transport Bhavan side, where the outside attack happened.
All right, Arunima getting us all the details on that entire story. Those are the preliminary details that emerging. My colleague Ananya and Yash were also getting us some updates about what's happening at the Parliament Street Police Station. Intelligence sources have told us that this does not look like a terror attack. This is something, in fact, some individuals who had some grouses and took this criminal method of voicing their concerns. Completely unacceptable. Let me cut across to Pallavi as well. She is with us on the broadcast, getting us more details on this entire story. Pallavi, we played out that sound reaction of one of the intruders into the parliament. She was raising slogans of Bharat Mata Ki Jai, talking about unemployment and price rise. She also said that she has no affiliations with any organization or any political outfit.
That's right, but I think that more and more interrogation which will take place, prima facie, whatever information we are getting, either by way of Manoj Gupta, our reporters on the ground, and Arunima, it of course goes on to make, one thing is very clear, and that is something which we broke, that it is not a terror attack, definitely not. So there is a security breach which certainly has taken place, Anusha, but at least thankfully it cannot be seen as a terror attack. Two people, more investigation, more interrogation will be done. Why did they have to do it? How did they go in? How was it easy to get the pass, and so on and so forth. Meanwhile, the business as usual in Lok Sabha, 2 bills have been taken up for consideration. So again, a messaging which is going in from the speaker himself that, you know, we have to move beyond this. Investigations, interrogations are going to take place. Whatever needs to be done has been done. The people who issued the pass, the people who frisked these 2 visitors, all of them have now been taken and they are being questioned by an intensive parliament security team, because, you know, they are also the front line people, workers there, the staff there. They are the ones who are supposed to frisk you very, very carefully. There's a body frisk actually, Anusha, which takes place through a scanner. Why did not that happen? How did it escape? I think now they're going to expect to be more alert. But more than that, Anusha, I think now they're going to be more and more stringent about whether they're even going to allow visitors inside the visitors gallery, and the strict do's and don'ts, which very often have not been implemented, is now also going to be implemented.
All right, Pallavi getting us all those details. Arunima reporting from the ground. My colleague Yash and Ananya also getting us a sense about what the police inquiry really is telling us. We'll continue getting you 360 view of this entire incident that has unfolded. For now, playing out some more reactions on the story.
ये बहुत ही दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण बात है। बहुत ही टाइट सिक्योरिटी के बाद भी इस तरह की घटना हो जाए तो ये दुखद है, क्योंकि ये तो और कुछ भी बहुत हो सकता था। पहले ऐसा होता था कि ऊपर गैलरी में भी हर रो में सिविल ड्रेस में सिक्योरिटी के लोग रहते थे। अगर कोई हिलने की कोशिश करता था वहीं पकड़ देता। अब कोई अपॉइंटमेंट ही नहीं हो रहा है, नए जो हैं सो भी निकाले जा रहे हैं। तो यहाँ भी अगर भर्ती पूरी नहीं होगी, यहाँ भी सिक्योरिटी के लोग नहीं होंगे, तो ऐसी घटनाएं होने की आशंका बनी रहेगी।
देखिए, लोकसभा में जिस समय 0 आवर चल रहा था, उसमें विजिटर्स गैलरी से मैंने 2 युवाओं को नीचे कूदते हुए देखा। पहले वो लटकने के बाद कोई एक के बाद एक करे, कुछ नारेबाजी कर रहे थे। नारेबाजी सुनाई नहीं क्योंकि माइक चल रहा था उसमें पार्लियामेंट का, लोकसभा का। उसके बाद जैसे हमारे एमपीज लोग उसको तरफ दौड़े, क्योंकि वो पीछे से कूदने के बाद बेंचों को करके बांध करके उनको जंप करता हुआ आगे आ रहा था। तो बीच में वो पकड़ा गया। एक दूसरा जो था वो पीछे का पकड़ा गया। हमारे एमपीज ने उसको पकड़ा दौड़ करके, जो वहाँ आसपास के हमारे एमपीज थे। बाद में सुरक्षा के लोग, सुरक्षा कर्मी भी वहाँ पर आए, और जैसे उसको पकड़ा उसके बाद उसने तुरंत जो है गैस छोड़ी है। एक जो है येलो कलर की गैस थी। दूसरे वाले जो पीछे था उसने भी गैस छोड़ी है। एक बहुत बड़े सुरक्षा का हमारी चूक आज हुई है। इसका पूरी जांच होना चाहिए, ज्वाइंट टीम बनना चाहिए। यहाँ की हमारे सुरक्षा जो कर्मी है उनका भी है, दिल्ली पुलिस है, इंटेलिजेंस एजेंसी, सबको मिलकर के इसकी जांच करना चाहिए।
हम लोग अपनी बात रख रहे थे, अचानक गैलरी के अंदर से 2 आदमी कूद आए। कूदने के बाद उन्होंने अपने जूते में से कोई चीज निकाली, जिससे पूरी पार्लियामेंट के अंदर गैस फैलना शुरू हो गई। हमें शुबा ये है कि क्या ये कोई टॉक्सिक गैस तो नहीं है, कोई नुकसान तो आगे सांसदों को नहीं होगा, खुदा करे ना हो। लेकिन जितना बड़ा सिक्योरिटी लैप्स हुआ है आज, जूते में तो कोई छोटा बम भी ला सकता था।
क्या वो विजिटर्स गैलरी में बैठे?
विजिटर गैलरी में से कूदे थे। तो अगर इस तरह से लैप्स होंगे तो पार्लियामेंट क्या हमारी सेफ है, ये हमें सोचना पड़ेगा। उनको पकड़ लिया है, सांसदों नहीं पकड़ा, और मेरे ख्याल से वो 30-35 साल के लोग होंगे, लड़के हैं।
माननीय सांसद जो थे तुरंत उन्होंने भी घेरा, उसको पकड़ा। तब तक उन्होंने जूता के अंदर से कुछ निकाल करके वो गैस जो होता है कलरफुल धुआं छोड़ने लगा। कोई डेंजरस कुछ नहीं था, लेकिन चिंता के विषय ऐसा सामग्री लेके अंदर आ गए। ये चिंता की विषय है। ऐसा ना हो इसलिए सतर्क रहना पड़ेगा, सबको टेस्ट करना पड़ेगा। तो कोई जस्ट न्यूज बनने के लिए, कोई दृष्टि आकर्षण करने के लिए उसे किए थे, देखने से लगा। बाकी दोनों को पकड़ के मार्शल ले गए बाहर। आते तो कोई भी आए थे डॉक्यूमेंट देके, लेकिन ये जो सामग्री कैसे लेके आ गए जूता के अंदर से, ये भी सोचने का विषय है कि आगे इस प्रकार चेकिंग होनी चाहिए। मेटल डिटेक्टर से ऐसा कोई भी चीज हो जो पकड़ा जाए, और नहीं तो फिर चिंता के विषय। जहाँ फोन भी नाले नहीं देते हैं, तो इस प्रकार सामान आ गया, ये बड़ी चिंता का विषय है।
So what exactly really happened in Lok Sabha today?
Two persons from gallery climbed down and they raised some slogans. And suddenly all other members and security have catched them and taken away.
What were the slogans that was raised by them?
Not much clear, but something like Kala Kanun Bapas laws, like that.
They tried to throw the canister. They opened.
No, they're not thrown. They just burnt. And in between, they captured by members and security people.
Was there security present? Because Congress party is claiming that inside also the MPs were only.
Yeah, MPs only captured them. Then security person arrived.
It was a man and a woman.
No, two men.
Two men it was. And when you talk about security, today is the day when Parliament was attacked.
Yeah, it's a security fault. Completely.
You think it's a big security?
Completely. Otherwise, how can enter with that material?
The visitors gallery, when someone has to visit, they have to get a signature from the MP. Has anything been clear who has given the signature or anything?
That you have to check and inquire.
All right, I'll cut across to my colleague Yash, who's with us on the broadcast. Yash, the special police cell is on the spot right now. Could you give us more details? What exactly is happening?
Well, Anusha, as of now, what we are understanding is that the ambit of this entire investigation is being stretched to different police teams. In fact, special cell officers have also reached the Parliament Street police station over here. And in fact, earlier we have reported that two of the accused have been nabbed, and in fact they've been brought to this very police station, and in fact interrogation is underway. What we're also understanding is that not only these officials from the special cell are here, but also at the spot where this entire incident happened. In fact, there are two spots, if we can say. One is outside the Parliament house, in fact outside the Transport Bhavan premises, and in fact the other one is inside the Parliament. In fact, so the ambit of this entire investigation is being actually taken to a different level, where all the agencies, a multi-agency probe is currently underway. One thing which CNN News 18 has categorically stated, that this is not a terror attack. In fact, there were certain grievances due to which these people were protesting. In fact, Ananya is also with me. Ananya, you broke earlier that the special cell teams are on the spot. What more you can tell us?
Well, definitely the special cell teams have also not only reached here but also were sent to the Parliament. This is what we have been told by our sources, top sources. Not only this, we just saw a special cell team going in. So definitely the ambit of the probe has now increased, and the initial probe has already indicated that there are a total of 4 people. 2 were inside and 2 were subsequent timing was very, very subsequent in nature. Though there have been no relation that have been coincided with of this 4 of these people. Initial investigation is still underway. We just spoke to DCP New Delhi. It was confirmed that those inside the Parliament we have not yet been able to understand their identifications. But at this point of time, the ambit of the probe has been increased, and top officers of the Delhi police have also been going to the Parliament to check and see as to what is there. Forensic teams will also be reaching the Parliament to check all those chemicals that were there in those smoke bombs. So definitely the ambit has now been increased, but we'll have to wait for an official version of the Delhi police to come out with regards to a detailed investigation that needs to be done, because it's just happened a few hours ago and the Delhi police is all swung into action. Special cell teams coming here is something that is a very, very crucial aspect. They are experts at interrogation. They're experts at deciphering codex, and so they'll be looking into all the angles. Though the terror angle, CNN News 18 has been categorically informing that this is no kind of a terror attack, but this is one of the major breaches when it comes to the Parliament of India, one of the most secure places, 3-tier of security being breached. We'll have to wait how things have panned out and about what is actually has happened.
Well, absolutely. It's a big breach which has taken place today at the Parliament. Yes, in fact, it is not a terror attack. This is what we are reporting. But there needs to be in fact, a proper probe in this matter. In fact, we just heard from the Speaker of the House, Mr. Om Birla, who also categorically said that investigation has been done. And in fact, all the questions of the parliamentarians will be answered within the Parliament. Back to you, Anusha.
All right, all the questions will be answered to the parliamentarians. This is something that all the parties spoke of just some time ago to Speaker Om Birla as well. And the Speaker assured everyone that a proper inquiry would be conducted. The House stands united in this particular moment when that security protocol has been breached, and a very, very serious breach that has happened. And the moment, the timing, is not lost in this entire matter. We'll continue tracking the story, continue to get you a 360-degree view of all the voices, the details of the investigation emerging. For now, stepping into a very short break. Stay tuned, stay with us.
News now, there seems to be a security breach in the Lok Sabha, ladies and gentlemen, where a person has jumped from the visitors gallery of the Lok Sabha. That's the piece of breaking news that's coming in. We'll try to get some more details, but what we are learning is that there seems to have been a security breach in the Lok Sabha where a person has jumped from the visitors gallery. That's the latest that's coming in from Parliament, ladies and gentlemen. That's a big piece of breaking news where there seems to have been a security breach in the lower house of Parliament where a person has jumped from the visitors gallery. We'll try to get some more details when it comes to what has happened inside Parliament. But what we are learning is that a person seems to have jumped from the visitors gallery. This is a huge security breach in the Lok Sabha. And also we've got access to those visuals. We'll play them out very soon for you. There seems to have been a security breach in the Lok Sabha where a person has jumped from the visitors gallery. This is a huge piece of news that's coming in where the breach has also been caught on camera where a person has jumped from the visitors gallery in the Lok Sabha. That's the piece of news that's coming in. Those visuals will get you very soon, ladies and gentlemen, where a massive security breach has now been reported from the lower house of Parliament where a person has jumped from the visitors gallery. Remember, the visitors gallery open to members of the public, but they go through a massive security vetting when it comes to entering the lower house of Parliament. Now what we are learning is that a person has jumped from the visitors gallery. Those visuals on your screen where it seems that a person has jumped from the visitors gallery. A massive security breach, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to the proceedings inside the house. Those visuals on your screen where it seems you can see the person just jumping from the benches, jumping from the visitors gallery, then jumping across the benches. Those visuals on your screen where the person, as you can see, the security officials are also trying to chase him down, to corner him and to contain him and to restrain him as the person is jumping across the benches. A massive security breach inside Parliament, ladies and gentlemen. Those dramatic visuals on your screen, you can see the person jumping from the visitors gallery and then just jumping across those benches and as he is being cornered by those security officials. I'm joined by my colleague Payal Mehta on the broadcast, who's getting us this piece of breaking news. Payal, give us the details.
Well, I'm going to just tell you some details, and I'm joined by a member of Parliament of the YSR Congress, Mr. Sanjeev Kumar, who was there on the floor of the House, and we'll ask him what really happened. So, what really happened?
Two youths, they jumped from the gallery into the hall, into the house. So they have lit two crackers. They were around 15 centimeters length, and they were yellow in color. It was throwing out huge fumes. We were terrified that it could be some poisonous gas, and we were also terrified that it could be some bomb. So immediately our colleague members of Parliament and security people overpowered them, and both the people were dragged out of the house.
Any idea? Were they shouting out any slogans? Did they shout slogans against?
Yeah, they were shouting, but we could not. It was not clear for us. So we were all concentrating on the thing in their hand. We thought they were trying to throw it at some person, and one short fellow, he was trying to go to the speaker. So immediately some Lok Sabha member, he was a Sikh, he immediately overpowered him and he was dragged outside.
Is this something like this that one has seen for the longest in Parliament? Because I don't remember seeing anything like this in Parliament ever.
No, I have never seen, we have never heard, and this is very serious security breach, and even people who we get, they don't allow anything. But
that person was trying to hide something in his shoe. Is that something which happened?
Maybe he has taken one matchstick from the shoe and then he lit the cracker.
All right, Ayushman, an eyewitness speaking to us, telling us what really happened. It's a major breach. Never in the history of Parliament, because Ayushman, whenever we also enter Parliament, we are thoroughly checked. Everything is checked. All our equipment are checked. Even officials are not even allowed to carry their chargers and their mobile chargers with
All right, a huge parliament security breach that has been reported. 4 people, 2 instances, smoke in Lok Sabha. This is a big security breach that has been reported. The intruders have been taken into custody by the Delhi police and the special police, which is looking into the matter. The special cell is looking into the matter. Preliminary details of the investigation are out. Also, there's an audio bite from one of the intruders that we just played out some time ago, where she's heard saying about unemployment, price rise, certain repressive laws of the government, and she goes on to chant Bharat Mata Ki Jai. The intelligence sources also indicate that this is not a terror attack of any nature, but a serious security breach that has happened. My colleagues Shirin, Elizabeth, Pallavi and Arunima are with us on the broadcast. Shirin, first to you, the latest details that you have.
Well, there were 4 people who have in fact been detained following the attack that has in fact happened inside. Now, one of the detainers, the protesters, is named Neelam, and she in fact goes on to say, she herself in fact says that her name is Neelam, and the reason why they have in fact did this particular stunt inside the house is because they are unemployed because of the price rise. They also in fact goes on to say that whenever they try to protest, there are lathi charges on them. So this was the only way through which they can put out their message. So this is one of the detainers. Of course, there is investigation that is going on. We'll get to know more detail as to what exactly was the plan and why this particular day itself was chose by these protesters who were gathered inside the house, how they got inside, under whose name was the pass given to these protesters. All these details will be asked, but a number of eyewitnesses were here at Vijay Chowk. That includes the MPs from Congress as well, who have in fact questioned the government over the security breach, and they in fact went on to say that we don't know really if that it in fact was a chemical or whatever that the fume came out of the canister. We have to of course see it gone into some of the MPs' eyes as well. So it is in fact very dangerous, is what a number of the MPs have been saying. They also have been saying that there needs to be a proper statement that needs to come on this incident. What was it, just a publicity stunt? Was it really a planned attack? A detailed statement is something that is being demanded by the Congress party at this moment.
All right. I'll also try and get more details from my other colleagues, Arunima and Pallavi, who are with us on the broadcast. Shireen, Elizabeth reporting on the story. Let me see if we can cut across to the breaking bit of development that we're getting right now. And various voices and statements are coming in. Congress MP Venugopal has posted on platform X, the infiltration in Lok Sabha is extremely troubling, especially on the anniversary of 2001 Parliament attack. I'm glad that there was no major injury or damage done to anyone. Parliament is among the high security buildings of our country. Such a major security lapse is unacceptable. We demand answers from the Home Ministry, and there must be a thorough review of the security arrangements. That's what Mr. Venugopal has said. Pallavi, all the political parties are unanimous on this particular issue, that this is a security breach, no political blame game, but yes, accountability must be sought.
Well, I mean, a security breach touches upon all members of parliament, and all of them are very responsible, and they do understand the gravity of the situation. And, for example, Rahul Gandhi was very much there inside Lok Sabha today. The Prime Minister and Home Minister were, of course, away, but there were senior MPs cutting across party lines. All of them were inside Lok Sabha. It was question now, so relatively much more quieter, less amount of crowd there, but the staff is there, the speaker's chair was occupied, and therefore this is a security breach. I mean, God forbid, worse could have happened. The fact, the ease with which the 2 protesters could easily jump down from the visitors gallery and also take out that color bomb and throw it, and smoke fills up the entire Lok Sabha, just goes on to show how serious that gets. So for now, very nuanced, mature reactions coming in from political parties. Congress party, of course, is questioning the security breach. KC Venugopal asked that, there should be a review of the security arrangements, which I'm sure is going to take place. Apart from that, of course, course, Trinamool Congress also has issued a detailed statement that the Home Minister also must come out and give out a response as to what really happened. Why was it so easy for two of these visitors to get in with this particular color bomb and also throw it and also jump down? What if there was not an alert MP or a watch and ward staff inside the Lok Sabha who did stop it? What if there was actually an attempt being made on any member of parliament? How serious can they get? Because Parliament, Anusha, is considered to be the safest territory. Multiple levels of checking happens, and no matter what one says, we'll have to wait for that dissection later. But the fact is that this, of course, has been a serious security breach.
A serious security breach that has happened. Pallavi, it does bring back memory of the last time the attack on Parliament happened. And yes, that was a terror attack. This intelligence sources indicate is not a terror attack. But this particular intrusion on the floor of the House does touch upon a raw nerve.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I mean, many of us who were covering Parliament way back when that Parliament attack happened, we saw the ease with which it was actually able to go inside the Parliament. In the case of Parliament attack, the vehicles went inside, the people could go in so easily. Normally now when the Parliament is in session, Section 144 is in place, which means areas around Vijay Chowk, all of them are limited. There are barricades, there are ropes which are put out where you cannot go beyond it. You're supposed to be within your limited area. And this is the new entry point for the Makar Dwar, which you can see right in front of me. That's the new Parliament building. Just next to it is, of course, the old Parliament building. And then right next to it is actually where the visitors go in from. That's the Parliament Annexy side. So when you go in there, you make your passes. All these areas are not a free-for-all area. They are not thoroughfare. People cannot walk in randomly as they want. Of course, now there is more beefed-up security, but there are barricades there also as well, Anusha, which I can show you to a sunset mark, which is reaching up to this side of the Parliament. So, it's not like anyone can walk in here and freely. That's the kind of security check which really happens. We in the media who take in our equipment in the days when we would go in, every equipment of ours used to be frisked, it used to be checked, batteries taken out. All our VJs who are with us will bear testimony to that it's a very long, drawn out, stringent process. Our bags which we take in, I remember my water bottles used to be taken out, our phones used to be asked to be switch on and switch off to ensure that there's no security threat. Very much similar to what we do when we take aboard a flight.
Absolutely.
That's as stringent as it can get. And as I've been reporting, of late, they've begun this whole RF tag. It's biometric now. Your thumb impression, your Aadhaar card details, all of that has to be there. Same principle usually applies in the case of a visitor's gallery, even more so, because those are those people who don't have the experience of going inside Parliament. And therefore, it is completely inexplainable as to how easily the two of them, and I showed you those pictures of the big white yellow cylinder, how it was easy for them to take it inside, hide it in their shoe, and actually throw it from the top. I mean, jump down.
Yep, absolutely. Pallavi, as you get us the memories, the bad memories of the earlier Parliament terror attack and the present intrusion that has happened, it does touch upon the raw nerve and brings in those bad memories. We'll continue tracking the story. We'll continue getting you all the voices here. The intruders who caused mayhem on the floor of the House, fortunately, nobody is hurt. Inquiry is underway. Seems like it was not a terror attack, but more details awaited. Slipping into a very short break for now.
Of security that you really have around Parliament. This is very, very shocking for everybody who has seen it. And of course, the YSR MP who was there on the floor of the House telling us the first-hand witness over there.
Absolutely. Let's recap for our viewers what we've learned so far, ladies and gentlemen. Two youth jumped from the visitors' gallery. They burst crackers. They sprayed something inside on the floor of the House. Yellow fumes came out and they were shouting slogans, but we are not aware of what slogans they were shouting inside Parliament. That is the big piece of breaking news that's coming in. Those visuals on your screen, these were two youth who jumped from the visitors' gallery. There was a massive security breach. They burst crackers, they sprayed some yellow fumes, and they were shouting slogans, and we don't know what slogans they were shouting. Payal was speaking to the YSRCP MP over there. They were saying that there was such a racket inside the floor of the House that they were unaware of what they were shouting. But as you can see in those visuals, ladies and gentlemen, they are jumping across the tables. These are two youth who jumped from the visitors' gallery. Remember, as my colleague Payal is also pointing out, a lot of vetting goes through when it comes to allowing people into the visitors' gallery, but not just the fact that these Two youth jumped from the visitors gallery. They were carrying firecrackers as well as sprays. They sprayed yellow fumes inside Parliament on the floor of the House, and they were shouting slogans. I'm joined by my colleague Anwar Srivastava, who's getting us more details when it comes to this major security breach inside Parliament. Anwar, over to you.
Yes, the initial that we are getting from the police is the police are saying that the elements that have been used inside the parliament is said to be the color bomb that is usually used on Holi. This is what the police are saying. Those officers who are on spot, and they have conveyed it to senior officials that it has been found that these were color bombs that have been used inside the parliament. But the police are saying that they are still to verify whether it was only color bombs and what was the intention behind it. Because police are saying that as far as initial investigation is concerned, they have only found color bombs here, which are usually used on Holi festival. But there are senior officials at spot. Some persons have also been detained, and police are trying to find out what are these bombs actually, whether or not, because it is also being said that a matchstick was used to fire them. So how did these things get inside? That will also come into the picture. But initial point is to find out if anyone has been, if any injury has been sustained by anyone. First of all, then what was the object used? Police are saying that it could be in all possibility just the color bombs, and also police will rule out all other dangers that could be. And so the police force has been moved towards the parliament. The security men who were there on the cordon and also on the inside are at the spot right now. The spot is being inspected in detail, and police will come out with more details. But initial, the duty of the police would here be to cordon the entire area and to find out exactly what elements were used and whether or not any other person has sustained any injury. Eventually, a case will also be registered if need be, and if anything dangerous is found. Because even if it was a color bomb and a matchstick was used to light it, Explosive Act will be enforced here, and those who have been, those who have been detained, their roles will be further examined, and then initially the police action will be initiated, or the FIR, whatever legal action will be required, that will be done. But the police senior officers that are on the spot, they are telling right now that the primary focus is to find out if anyone has sustained injury, and what was these holy bombs that the police are saying that had been used inside the parliament, and how big is the security breach that has been.
News now, there seems to be a security breach in the Lok Sabha, ladies and gentlemen, where a person has jumped from the visitors gallery of the Lok Sabha. That's the piece of breaking news that's coming in. We'll try to get some more details, but what we are learning is that there seems to have been a security breach in the Lok Sabha where a person has jumped from the visitors gallery. That's the latest that's coming in from Parliament, ladies and gentlemen. That's a big piece of breaking news where there seems to have been a security breach in the lower house of Parliament where a person has jumped from the visitors gallery.
ये देश के लिए अच्छा संदेश नहीं होगा। मेरा अनुरोध है माननीय लीडर ऑफ ऑपोजिशन से, इंक्वायरी चल रही है, इंक्वायरी के लिए वेट करना चाहिए हमने, और सदन की कार्रवाई को सुचारू रूप से चालू रखना।
लीडर ऑफ द अपोजिशन, बाकी बैठिए। You see, 1 second. It is an issue where we should deliberate in all seriousness and in a composed atmosphere. Leader of the House has said something. It is not necessary for everyone to subscribe to it. There can be other point of view.
Sir, देखो, मैं इस
Sir, if leader of the opposition is on legs and you still wish to speak,
sir, इस सदन के
I would appeal to the honorable members. Let us show minimum regard to rules. If leader of the opposition is on his legs, let him alone respond.
Sir,
I fully believe in his wisdom. No one can question his credentials. So let us hear him in rapt attention. And then I will seek response of the treasury benches also. Please, sir.
सर, इस सदन के नेता ने कहा कि ये बहुत गंभीर मामला है और अपोजिशन के लोग देश के लिए यहाँ जिन लोगों का पहले जो शहीद हुए थे उनको तो श्रद्धांजलि सब मिलके ही की, और देश के यूनिटी के लिए और देश के हिफाजत के लिए हम हमेशा तैयार हैं, और हमारे लोग जितना सैक्रिफाइस किए तुम्हारे पास एक चुआ भी नहीं।
सर, 130 करोड़ लोग तैयार हैं।
सुनिए,
There is no soul in the country who is not ready.
ये हमको सिखाते हैं,
130 करोड़ जनता तैयार है इसके लिए।
सिखाते हैं देशभक्ति, ये हमको सिखाते
We
हैं
have to
देशभक्ति।
exemplify.
ये तो देश के विरोधी लोग हैं।
No, sir. Nothing will go on record now, sir. Nothing will go on record. Nothing will go on record. I now call upon Sri B. Linga Yadav. Please resume your address. Please resume your address.
Sir, the Central Universities Amendment Bill.
And the big story that we continue to track here on CNN News 18 is that security breach that took place during the 0 hour in the parliament just a short while ago. Let's go straight to our colleagues. Pallavi is already joining us on the broadcast. Pallavi, just for the benefit of our viewers, trace the sequence of events for us. Help us understand what really happened on the floor of the House. How many people have been detained so far?
Okay, now it's a little bit more calmer outside. I mean, we had seen a barricading which had taken place and people were being stopped to going in. I think the messaging which is also going in is that we have to carry on with the business and the investigation and interrogation is going on. The entire procedure has almost been completed. The security staff who were there when they frisked the visitors who were going in, they are also being questioned. They are also being asked where the loophole was. Apart from that, we just saw the forensic team and we sent you those pictures who just left with the remnants of that yellow kind of a cylinder which is now being called the color bomb. Remnants of that, that's the entire thing which is now going to be investigated. And this entire area is almost now much calmer, quieter. Inside the parliament, of course, it's business as usual. Bills have been taken up for consideration of passage in the Lok Sabha. But the side-by-side questions have already begun to be raised. I mean, just a short while back, we had the leader of the House in Rajya Sabha, Mr. Piyush Goyal, accusing the opposition of doing politics over it. But the fact remains is there's no denying the fact that this was actually a security breach. There are multiple tiers and levels of when that frisking or that checking takes place. In such a situation, how is it that two people could get in with an object which, I mean, you're not being allowed to take anything inside. It was easy for them to take in and also jump down. So these are going to be a multiple level of investigations, but something which we have been reporting about, and thankfully, this is attack. We heard one of the ladies, for example, crying and making the point that, I am suffering, they don't even let us speak. So I think obviously they're going to be questioned now, and then we are going to get some more and more details about what further action needs to be taken against them, because they've also violated all the norms. For now, we can say all visitors' passes are going to be stopped and have been stopped with immediate effect. So no visitors are going to be allowed inside the visitors' gallery.
Pallavi, we'll just request you to stay on with us, and that's the update that we're getting to you, where we're now understanding in the backdrop of the security breach that has been reported, the immediate step that has been taken is that the Parliament has stopped all visitor passes with immediate effect, which means no more issuance of visitor passes till the time the authorities figure out what really happened today. But as Pallavi was also reporting for us, things now are getting more calmer. Authorities are on the ground. You have police teams on the ground. Security also has been beefed up in the backdrop of the Parliament security breach. But the big questions that remain is that you have multiple layers of security for anyone who tries to get in. You have metal detectors that are part of this security. You have frisking at the main gate that takes place. You have another frisking that takes place at the entry of the Parliament building. Despite all of this, how did this breach even happen? But first, let's bring in our colleague Payal, who's joining us on the broadcast. So, Payal, we're understanding no more visitor passes, in fact, will be issued. Do we have a timeline till when this decision that has been taken will be implemented? Till what time?
Well, of course, the security will take note of how to resume the passes when it resumes. But as of now, they've decided to cancel all passes with immediate effect. Because remember, passes are made for not just visitors who are coming into the gallery, but passes are made at multiple levels. For example, some visiting journalists also get passes made. There are ministers who get passes made for people who are coming to them for meetings. So all of these passes have been stopped with immediate effect, because obviously the security wants to take into account the entire detailing, given the fact that somebody is able to move into Parliament with these prayers. That is something which is considered to be a deep breach of security. Multiple meetings are taking place in Parliament right now as we speak on the security aspect of this. And like our colleagues have reported, that top officials of the Delhi Police and of course the CRPF, it's also guiding, of course, and of course it protects the Parliament premises. They are all in a meeting right now. We'll have to just wait for further updates, but as of now, nobody wants to take any chances. And Even though the fact that there was, of course, a COVID restriction in place, and for the longest, the Parliament was not
Correct.
issuing visitor passes, and restricted passes are also being issued for media. So a lot of clampdown is happening right now, keeping in view the security of the premises.
Okay, Payal, thanks a lot for getting us all those details. There's some other updates coming in. Let's go to that as well. More details are now emerging of who are these people who in fact have been arrested. So now we're understanding one of the youngsters who in fact was arrested in the parliament has now been identified as Manoranjan, son of Devraj. His father has also identified him. Looking at the visuals that are currently running across various TV screens, what we're also now understanding, he in fact is a resident of Mysore, and what the family has now been able to tell us is that he in fact had left 3 days back saying that he's going to Bengaluru, which of course hasn't happened because he's been arrested from here, the national capital. Let's go straight to our colleague Harish Upadhyay, who in fact is getting us those details. So Harish, help us understand, what has the family managed to tell you? What have they said as to what he had told the family where he was going? I believe he told the family he was going to Bengaluru, but ended up somehow being in the national capital.
Absolutely. The family right now saying that they were not aware of the activities of Manoranjan. In fact, he had left to Bengaluru 3 days back. And the family also